Good morning, children. This is the mathematics session for class 9, and today's topic is lines and angles, which we have already started in the previous video. In the previous class, we have learned the basic terms in the geometry and few pairs of angles. And we have learned the pair of complementary angles, the pair of supplementary angles, and the pair of conjugate angles. Today we are going to continue with some more pair of angles. Adjacent angles. Adjacent angles itself tells you that this is also a pair, more than one, and let us see what are the properties. Adjacent angles are the angles which share an arm or a side or a vertex but do not share the interiors. The interiors of the two adjacent angles are totally different. They do not share any point. So here in the given figure ADC, ADB and BDC are the two angles which are sharing a common side DB and a common vertex D. And so, these two angles ADB and BDC are called the adjacent angles. But children, ADC and ADB cannot be called as adjacent angles, as ADC and ADB will be sharing their interiors. They also have a common arm, they also have a common vertex, but they are not adjacent. Try to understand, the full angle and a part of an angle also have a common arm and a common vertex, but they are not adjacent because they are sharing their interiors. Adjacent angles do not share their interiors. So, ADB and BDC are the two adjacent angles because they are sharing a side DB and a vertex D. So, children, the important points for the adjacent angles are, here only 3 points are there. You should know the fourth point also. That is, adjacent angles exist as pairs. They share a common vertex. They share a common side and they do not share their interior points. The fourth important point is they do not share their interior points. So, adjacent angles are the angles that lie one beside other with common side and a common vertex. Now, let us see what is this linear pair of angles. If sum of two adjacent angles is 180 degrees, they are said to be a linear pair of angles. That means, yesterday also in before class also we have learned, if sum of two angles is 180 degrees, then they are supplementary. Yes, supplementary angles need not be adjacent. They can be non-adjacent angles also. But linear pair of angles are always adjacent. So here the important point is sum of two adjacent angles is 180, then they are said to be linear pair. So children, always linear pair means a ray will be drawn in between a straight line, that's all, because 180 degrees means the angle formed by the adjacent angles, total angle formed is 180 degrees. So the non-common rays will form a straight line. Two adjacent angles are linear pair if their non-common rays are opposite rays or they form a straight line. Thus, the angles in a linear pair are supplementary. Children, you have to be very perfect in this. Linear pair of angles are always supplementary. But all the supplementary angles are not linear pair because all the supplementary angles are not adjacent angles. If they are not adjacent, they cannot be the linear pair of angles. Now let us see few problems from Try This from page number 77 of your textbook. The first question is, find the pairs of adjacent and non-adjacent angles in the above figures 1, 2, 3, 4. But now instead of above figure, we can say beside figures because I have drawn it beside. In the first figure, Angle 1 and angle 2 are the two adjacent angles as they are sharing the ray OB or sharing the side OB and the vertex O. But whereas, and they do not share their interiors. But whereas angle 1, angle 3 and angle 1 also have a common side OC and a common vertex O, but they are sharing their interiors. So 1 and 3, 2 and 3 are non-adjacent angles. Is it clear to you? Even though in some conditions they share a common side and a common vertex, but they are also sharing the common interiors. Interiors should not be shared. If interiors are shared, they are non-adjacent angles. In the second figure, 1 and 2, they are not adjacent because they do not have a common arm and a common vertex, so they are non-adjacent angles. Third one is little above. Children, don't write 1, 2, 3 as linear pair of angles. Linear pair consists of only two angles. You can write as, here it is written wrong. 1, 2, 3, we cannot say linear pair of angles. 1, 2 plus 3 are linear pair of angles. Then 3, 1 plus 2 are linear pair of angles. 1 and 3, here we are not related to linear pair. We are related to only adjacent angles. So we can say that 1 and 2 are adjacent because they have a common arm. Whatever is written is correct. 2 and 3 are adjacent because they have a common arm and common vertex. But 1 and 3 are non-adjacent angles since they do not have a common arm but having the common vertex, even though they are non-adjacent angles. In fourth one, 1 and 2 are non-adjacent angles. Even though they have a common arm, they are sharing the interiors of the angles, so they are non-adjacent angles. It should be very clear to you. And the second question is, list the adjacent angles in the given figure. In this given figure, 1 and 2 are adjacent, 3 and 4 are adjacent, 4 and 5 are adjacent angles. So in the given figure, there are 3 pairs of adjacent angles. After listening to the video, open your book and try to do these problems on your own. Now one more thing discuss and write is there. Linear pair of angles are always supplementary. I already explained you about this. But supplementary angles need not form a linear pair. Why? Because linear pair of angles are always supplementary because their sum is 180, they are supplementary. Whereas supplementary angles are not always adjacent. If supplementary angles are not adjacent, they do not form a linear pair. And if they are adjacent, they form a linear pair. So they do not always form a linear pair. Now let us see the axiom of the linear pair of angles and its converse. Axiom means it is a hard and fast rule or the law, it cannot be overcome. And converse means it is the reverse of that. Here, if a ray stands on a straight line, here OC is the ray that is standing on a straight line AB. When a ray stands on a straight line, then the adjacent angles so formed is, sum of the adjacent angles so formed is 180 degrees. So the axiom says that if OC stands on a straight line AB, then the adjacent angles formed by OC are X and Y. So X plus Y is equal to 180 degrees. Converse means we'll go in the reverse manner. Given becomes RTP and RTP becomes given. That is, here if a ray stands, he says. Now in the converse he says, if two adjacent angles are supplementary, then the non-common arms form a straight line. In the before one, we started from straight line and reached to is equal to 180. Now we are going in quite reverse manner. If sum of two adjacent angles is 180, then the non-common arms forms 180, a straight line. That is, if AOC plus BOC is equal to 180, then OA and OB are non-common arms. That is, angle AOB is equal to 180 degrees, and angle 180 degrees means it is a straight line. So this is about the linear pair of angles axiom. Now let us see what are the angles at a point. All of us know that if you draw a circle and at the center, the angle of that circle is 360 degrees. So around a point, if you draw whatever number of angles, the sum is 180. Here in our figure you see, around a point O, suppose the point of concurrence is O if we suppose, then the angles are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As all the angles are around a point O, their sum is 360 degrees. So this important point you have to remember, that sum of all the angles around a point is 360 degrees. Now let us see what are these vertically opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles are formed by two intersecting lines. When two lines intersect, four angles are formed. Let us see in the figure 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of these four figures, the opposite angles are called vertically opposite angles. That is 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 are the two pairs of vertically opposite angles. Again, vertically opposite angles also exist in a pair. That is 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. So, when two lines intersect, at the point of intersection, when we see four angles are formed, and in these four angles, the opposite angles are called vertically opposite angles. There is a theorem that if two lines intersect each other, then the pair of vertically opposite angles thus formed are equal. That is, you should always remember that the pair of vertically opposite angles are equal. In the previous figure, measure of angle 1 will be equal to measure of angle 3 and measure of angle 2 will be equal to measure of angle 4. So that we are going to prove now. Now here is a figure where two lines AB and CD intersect at a point O. Children, there are few formalities to be followed while doing the theorem. When we start doing the theorem, the first step is you should write the statement. Then you should draw the figure at the extreme right side of the page, and beside that figure you have to write given and RTP. RTP means what is required to prove. And in a theorem, the first part till the comma becomes the given and next part after the comma becomes required to prove. If two lines intersect each other at O, that is AB and CD intersect at O is the given. And what is the second part? Then the vertically opposite angles are equal. What are the vertically opposite angles here? AOC is equal to BOD. AOD is equal to BOC. That we are going to prove. Already we know the rule. Whatever is the rule, if it is asked as a theorem, every theorem is to be proved in a logical manner. Ray OA stands on a straight line CD. See children, OA stands on a line CD. So see the left side of the ray CD. Because those two angles lie on a straight line, angle AOD plus angle AOC plus angle AOD forms 180 degrees because they are linear pair of angles. Similarly, when we take the ray, one common, that is AD is a straight line and OD is standing on it. A ray standing on it, linear pair again. Which two are linear pair? Angle AOD plus angle BOD is equal to 180 degrees. Again, the reason is linear pair of angles axiom. Because the RHS is 180 for both, the LHS also will be same. So the above two equations, what we are doing, because both are equal to 180, both the quotients or both the LHS we are equating. AOC plus AOD is equal to AOD plus BOD. Here both the sides AOD is there, it gets cancelled and therefore AOC is equal to BOD. AOC and BOD are the vertically opposite angles, so they are equal. Similarly, when you take the angles BOD plus BOC and AOC plus BOC, when you equate that, you will get the another pair, that is AOC is equal to BOC. This is an important theorem. The second part, you have to do it on your own, same like the above one. Take one angle common so that it gets cancelled. So this theorem tells you that when two lines intersect each other at a point, the vertically opposite angles are equal. Now, do this in page 80-81. This you have to do in by own. I will explain in the figure and you have to listen properly and write it in your textbook or classwork. Classify the given angles as a pair of complementary, linear pair, vertically opposite angles or adjacent angles. See children, in first one, what can you say about angles A and B? A and B are adjacent angles, number 1. And A plus B is equal to, stands on a straight line. So A and B are also linear pair of angles. So A and B are adjacent angles and linear pair. When we say linear pairs, they will be definitely adjacent angles. The second figure is A and B. A and B are adjacent angles only, not any other angles. In third one, we see that this A and B stands on a perpendicular line on a straight line. So A and B are adjacent angles as well as A and B are complementary angles. And in this fourth figure, see here two lines are intersecting. Now we don't bother about the third line. Even if it is there, we will see only two lines here. And A and B are the vertically opposite angles. So the main important thing is, after understanding everything, you should be able to identify the angles which you have already learnt. And the next one is, here he is asking the value of A in each case. In first one, below is the first one, 50 and A are linear pair of angles. So, first step we will do as 50 plus A is equal to 180. A is equal to 180 minus 50. A is equal to 130 degrees. As 50 and A are linear pair of angles. Number 2 comes about two intersecting lines. A and 43 degrees are vertically opposite angles. So A is equal to 43 degrees. Whenever you write the answer, children, suppose in first one, 50 plus A is equal to 180 degrees. Beside you have to write the reason, linear pair of angles. Then do the calculation. Second one, A is equal to 43 degrees. You have to write the reason in bracket, vertically opposite angles. Now in third one, what you are observing? These forms a complete angle. Therefore, 209 degrees plus 96 degrees plus A is equal to 360 degrees. The reason you will write is angle around a point. Then you add 209 and 96 and subtract it from 360 degrees to get the value of A. Again in fourth one, angle A and angle 63 degrees are complementary angles because that is the right angle perpendicular. We are able to see that. So A plus 63 degrees is equal to 90. Reason will be complementary angles. All of you should do and find the answer and post it to my personal WhatsApp number so that I'll tell you whether you have done properly or not. So children, don't waste the time. Write every slide as a classwork and do the work properly. These are all very easy if you understand. These are all very difficult if you don't understand. So it is very important to understand the concept so that you can go to another topic easily. So thank you so much. Do your work sincerely.